Hello, my name is Kamachanok Supraset. My ID is 64878.
Hello, my name is Vishiyada Saiput. My ID number is 641227.
My name is Pachanapon Tisuwan. Student number is 641614.
Hello, my name is Virawan Kampati. My ID is 641572.
And today we're gonna talk about the cultural pattern of South Korea.
The Korean culture is one of the oldest continuous cultures in the wide world. Today's darker cultural differences exist in today's Korea, which has been split into North and South Korea. However, originally this cultural and historical heritage was shared quite identically across the entire Korean peninsula and even southern Manchuria. Korean culture comprises all of its history, customs, tradition, and beliefs. It has been shaped by each of its different dynasties, wars, changed in religious beliefs, the modernization of the world as well, and many other customs and traditions that have been passed on between generations, experiencing slight changes with each generational pass. The lasting tensions between North and South Korea, which were split into their separate countries in 1945, continue to shape up both countries today. On a perhaps more visible surface, Korean culture also consists of its food, holidays, national sports, and societal norms, as well as its popular culture in the form of music, movies, dramas, and fashion. And those are just some of the small pieces of what the culture is as a whole.
And next we will describe about Hofstade's value dimension.
Collectivism. Korea under the taste of Hofstade gets 18 points as individualism, which means this is the collectivism nation. In actions, Korean culture is affected largely by Confucianism and collectivism. It's one of the components. So, it is undoubtedly that Korea is influenced by collectivism. The example for the claim is Hyundai and Samsung. Those with the government possessed the cross-country strategies involving the Korean donating personal gold treasuries to deal with the Asian financial crisis in 1996. In the business, Korean less likely to do business with strangers, but the one who is introduced by friends, such the partner who be considered as the parts of group and shared interests and profits at the whole corporations. Uncertainty avoidance. Again, Hofstade insights show the Korean uncertainty avoidance of 85 points, which ranks Korean as the most avoidant nations worldwide. Thus, Koreans usually believe we have under the rigid codes and will be intolerant of the behavior and ideas that are unorthodox. Being busy, hardworking, as well as precision and punctuality are necessary in the workplace. More importantly, to prepare for the meeting in the country, a company has a schedule is at least 3 weeks before and be at the time.
Power distance. According to Cheney and Madin, Korean power distance is high. Indeed, this figure reached 60 points. Korean society accept the hierarchical order or the unequal power level between people. They extremely consider titles, state of other, and only officials who have the same rank can talk with other in the meeting of two companies. Senior managers, other decision makings, and junior staff is not in the corporation. It may cause the comfortableness for a partner if he or she is empowered.
Feminine society. South Korea is feminine nation. In feminine society, quality of life and works as well as free time are emphasis. Most Koreans do not prefer wearing luxury clothes and expensive jewelry to show their wealth. In the office, managers play lots in terms for consensus, solidarity, employee, value equality, and workplace life well-being. Long-term orientations. Korea scored the highest point in the long-term orientation test, 100 marks. Undoubtedly, South Korean organizations often concern the higher own capital rate, stable increase in market share rather than short-term profit. As the shareholders of Korean companies, they are received more than just quarterly capital of Korean firms willing to serve their stakeholders.
Indulgence versus restraint. With Korea's 29% indigenous, it reinforces what was mentioned above regarding Korea being a country very rooted in this culture and even being a very conservative country. So it is not uncommon for it to be a country with such a low indigenous rank. We can conclude Korea is a country that, despite being highly developed, is still far behind the rest of the world. With respect to how its citizens perceive the country so having such a low rate of indigence, it is not surprising that Korea is one of the countries with a high suicide rate. Next is Grahams and Stolberg's value orientation. Human nature orientation. The human nature orientation asks this question. At birth, is human nature considered good, neutral, evil, or a mixture of good and evil? And is it changeable? Individuals who believe in the basic goodness of human nature tend to be more trusting of others. Individuals who believe in the inherent evilness of human nature tend to be more skeptical and suspicious when interacting with dissimilar others. Individuals who believe in the neutrality of human nature tend to believe in the role of the environment in shaping their intrinsic nature. Person nature orientation. According to Grahams and Stolberg's value orientation, South Korea is a type of cooperation with nature. This orientation affirms that people should, in every way possible, live in harmony with nature. The desire to be part of nature and not control it has always been strong. These groups always carry out various ceremonies and rituals to ensure harmony with as well as protection of the land. Time orientation. The time orientation in South Korean culture is a mixture of past and future depending on which aspect of culture you observe. South Korean culture is very much past-oriented when we look at how they worship their ancestors and how highly they value and strictly uphold tradition. South Korean children are raised on the notion that they can never repay their debts to their parents, which is likely the reason behind the popularity of ancestral worship. So, South Korea language, culture, customs, and etiquette in 2010. The fact that the culture is hierarchical is an example of pastime orientation in itself. Korean society has traditionally been hierarchical, likely stemming from the fact that historically, Korean government was a monarchy. They have social classes including nobility and the elite. Kenna and Legacy, 1995. Activity orientation. Korean people consider being engaged in activities to be a good member of the culture. Some people, especially young people, are eager to change the circumstances of their lives. They also take work very seriously, which is different from play. To be a social person and really into activities which people can meet and talk. It can be accepted would try the best to change the circumstances of my life if necessary. Actually, work is different from play because it means more pressures and responsibilities. There should be a balance between work and play which could lead to an enjoyable life. As far as concerned, life is a collection of events to be experienced.
Social relations and communication. In contrast to American communications, where it's considered more low-contact culture and background information is needed, Korea's communication relies on cultural context derived from their customs and etiquettes. It's inevitable that the differences in cultural perspectives will be channeled through communication. And if this communication is to be productive, interactions based on cultural knowledge and mutual respect will be needed. Asian languages such as Korean reflects its high contact culture with an evidence of implicitness.
Hall's high context orientation. In Korea, high context culture is prominent in the society as it is a very important part of their culture. High context culture is a continuum of how explicit the messages exchanged in a culture are and how important the context in communication. High context cultures often exhibit less direct verbal and nonverbal communication, utilizing small communication gestures and reading more meaning into these less direct messages. Facing Facebook, the results show that cultural norms significantly determine the perception of the situation and that Koreans are more likely to resort to confrontation across situations. Additionally, individual face needs, situational factors, and culture, as well as interactions, are important predictors of individuals' management strategies in potentially impolite situations. Practical implications for intercultural communication are discussed. This is all of our presentation. Thank you for paying attention.